A wife discovers the unimaginable. Her husband has been cheating with their son's girlfriend, mocking her behind her back. Betrayal runs deep, but can she find the strength to rebuild everything before it's too late? I'm 40, a stay-at-home mom living in a quiet town outside Edinburgh. My husband, Mark, 47, works as a senior consultant for a major tech firm. We've been married for 18 years. We have two wonderful kids, Leo, our 17-year-old son in his final year of school, and Isla, our 14-year-old daughter. They are my world. Mark and I haven't been in the best place for a while. His job keeps him busy, and I've changed, not just physically, but emotionally. I've put everything into raising our children, and in the process, I think I lost myself, and maybe him too. Leo has a girlfriend, Chloe, who he's been with since they were 15. She's bright, bubbly, and sweet. The kind of girl you dream your son would fall for. She's been around for so long, she almost feels like part of the family. Last weekend, everything changed. Mark left his tablet on the kitchen table. As I passed by, a message notification popped up. I didn't mean to snoop. I really didn't. But my eyes caught a glimpse of something I wish they hadn't. It was a message from Chloe. It said she missed our little secrets and referenced something intimate. I stood there frozen, trying to convince myself I misunderstood, but I hadn't. Over the next few days, I couldn't stop myself from digging. I found a folder on Mark's laptop, filled with explicit videos, mostly BDSM. That was shocking enough, but then I noticed something worse. Screenshots of Chloe's social media, all saved. Harmless photos, but the fact he was saving them at all, that was the alarm bell I couldn't ignore. Then I checked his messages again, and that was when the truth hit me like a truck. Their conversations were real. Not only that, but they joked about me, cruelly. He called me names, belittled me, and Chloe laughed. They were mocking me, behind my back, together. I'm still trying to make sense of it. I feel sick, betrayed not just as a wife, but as a mother. This isn't just an affair. It's a violation of our family. And what shatters me the most is Leo. He loves her. He talks about their future. He has no idea. I remember finding a lace undergarment in our bedroom a few weeks ago. It wasn't mine. I brushed it off, convinced myself maybe it had somehow gotten mixed in with the laundry. But deep down, I think I knew. Now my thoughts won't stop racing. Was he waiting for Chloe to turn 18? Was this calculated? It feels so dark, so twisted. I keep replaying every moment over and over. How could I have missed this? How could I let this happen in my own home? I haven't said a word to Mark. I'm terrified. Not just of the confrontation, but of what this will do to Leo, to Isla, to the entire fabric of our family. One truth, and everything crashes down. But how do I keep living with this lie? I feel like I'm drowning in secrets I never asked for, and I don't know who to turn to. I'm not looking for pity. I just want to hear from someone who's made it through something impossible. Someone who's stared betrayal in the face and still found a way forward. Because right now, I can't see it. I started losing sleep. Every night I'd lie awake next to Mark, pretending everything was fine, pretending I didn't know he had betrayed not only me, but our son. I would stare at the ceiling while my mind screamed, "Tell him, end this, expose it." But I couldn't, not yet. Leo was in the middle of preparing for university interviews. His future was right in front of him. How could I throw a grenade into his world right now? And Isla, sweet, sensitive Isla. She worships her father. I was trapped in a waking nightmare, and the longer I kept the truth to myself, the more it began to eat away at me. Then came the dinner party. We hosted a small get-together, just a few close friends and their families. Mark was his usual charming self, laughing, pouring wine, playing the part. Chloe was there too, sitting beside Leo, holding his hand like nothing was wrong. I watched them from across the room, my stomach in knots. At one point, I stepped into the kitchen to catch my breath, and when I turned, I saw them, Mark and Chloe, in the hallway. He was leaning in close, whispering something to her. Her face flushed. She laughed and touched his arm. It was subtle, just a brush, but I saw it. I knew what it meant. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw every plate in that kitchen against the wall and demand the truth. Instead, I walked back out, smiled at our guests, and sat down. But inside, something shifted. I was done being silent. That night, after everyone had gone and the kids were in bed, I went to our shared office. I printed out every message, every screenshot, every folder I had found. I put them in a plain envelope and tucked it into my dresser drawer. I wasn't ready to show Leo, not yet, but I was ready to confront Mark. The next morning, while he was shaving, I stood in the doorway, watching him. "Do you love her?" I asked. He froze, razor still in hand. He didn't look at me, just stared at his reflection. "What are you talking about?" he said, voice flat. I stepped forward. "Chloe, Leo's girlfriend, the girl you've been messaging behind our backs." There it was, the flicker, that half-second pause where he knew the game was over. He didn't deny it. He didn't admit it either. He just looked at me through the mirror and said, "It's not what you think." My hands were trembling. "Then tell me, what is it?" Silence. Then he turned off the faucet and walked out of the bathroom like I hadn't said a word. That was the moment I realized he had no remorse, not even fear. He thought I wouldn't do anything, that I'd stay silent to protect the kids, to keep the peace. He underestimated me. I called a lawyer the next day. I also scheduled a session with a therapist. Not for him, for me, and for Leo, for Isla. Because this wasn't just about betrayal anymore. This was about rebuilding a life from the ashes of everything we thought was safe and real. I still don't know how I'm going to tell Leo. I rehearse it every day. I cry in the shower, in the car, behind closed doors. I want to shield him from the pain, but I know I can't. Because sometimes the truth is the only way forward, even when it shatters everything. This isn't over, but for the first time in weeks, I'm not frozen anymore. I'm moving, one step at a time. 3 days passed. Mark pretended nothing happened. He moved through the house like it was still his domain, made coffee, checked work emails. kissed Isla on the forehead before school. It was like he thought if he acted normal long enough, I'd forget what I knew. But I hadn't forgotten. I couldn't. The envelope sat hidden in my dresser like a ticking time bomb, and every time I passed by it, I felt it whisper to me, "He deserves to know. Your son deserves to know the truth." I spent hours staring at it. Then, finally, I made my decision. It was Saturday. Leo had just gotten home from football practice, sweat-soaked and smiling. He threw his bag down by the stairs, then flopped onto the couch, scrolling through his phone. I walked in holding the envelope. "Leo," I said, my voice already shaking. "Can we talk?" He looked up, immediately alert. "What's wrong?" I sat beside him. For a moment, I just looked at his face. So young, so hopeful. My heart felt like it was going to break. "I found out something," I said. "Something that's going to hurt. But I need you to hear it from me." He sat up straighter. "Is it Dad?" I swallowed hard. "It's about Dad. And Chloe." He blinked. "What do you mean?" I handed him the envelope. He opened it slowly. At first, he was confused, scrolling through the printed messages, screenshots, images. Then, I saw the shift. His hands began to tremble. His jaw clenched. "Is this real?" he whispered. "I'm so sorry," I said. I didn't want to believe it either. He stood up so fast the papers scattered. "This can't be real. Chloe wouldn't, she wouldn't do this. And Dad, he wouldn't." He didn't finish the sentence. He turned and walked straight out the front door. I followed, calling his name, but he was already gone, disappearing down the street. I didn't see him for hours. He came home close to midnight, his hoodie pulled over his head, face pale. His eyes were red. He didn't say anything as he walked past me and went to his room, slamming the door behind him. The next morning, he didn't eat. He didn't speak. He just sat there at the table, staring out the window. Finally, he looked at me and asked, "How long?" "I don't know," I said truthfully. "But I think it started not long after she turned 18. He nodded slowly, a look of pure devastation in his eyes. "So he waited. He waited for her to be legal." I said nothing. There was nothing to say. Then he whispered something I'll never forget. He was supposed to protect me, and she was supposed to love me. I reached for his hand. He let me hold it. Later that day, Mark came home early from work. Leo was waiting in the living room. I was upstairs, listening from the hallway. "Hey, buddy," Mark said, trying his usual warm voice. Leo stood up. "Don't! What's going on?" "You know what's going on." There was a pause, then Leo's voice, cold, steady. "How could you do that to me? To Mom? To her?" Mark tried to speak, but Leo cut him off. "I don't ever want to see you again. Ever. You're not my father anymore." Then I heard the front door slam. Mark called for me, but I didn't answer. I stayed upstairs, silent. And for the first time, I think he understood what he had done. Not just to me, but to his son, his family, everything. The days that followed were hard. Leo didn't speak much, but he was there. And sometimes presence is the only language grief understands. Isla still didn't know the full story, only that things were changing. Mark moved out, quietly. No goodbyes, no grand gestures. just a coward's exit through the back door of the life he ruined. And me? I sat in the ruins for a while. I let myself feel every drop of the heartbreak, the betrayal, the rage. I cried when no one was looking. I yelled into the silence when the kids were at school. I let it wash over me until I realized I wasn't drowning anymore. I was cleansing. And then, one morning, I stood in front of the mirror. For the first time in years, I looked at myself. Really looked. I didn't see a broken woman. I didn't see someone too old or not enough. I saw someone who survived. Someone who held her family together when the ground cracked open beneath them. So if you're reading this, if you've ever been betrayed, lied to, made to feel invisible, let me tell you something. You are not the things they said about you. You are not the names they whispered behind your back. You are not the brokenness they left behind. You are the fire that rose from it. Pain will shape you, yes, but it doesn't get to define you. Only you get to do that. You get to wake up and decide, today, I begin again. Not for them, not for revenge, but for you. Because there is strength in surviving, but there is power in choosing to live. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how long it will take to rebuild everything that was shattered. But I do know this. We are moving forward, and we're never looking back. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It really motivates me to keep going and create more stories like this for you.